Welcome to 40 Below Zero, an international podcast about life with invisible illnesses, hosted by two guys living with multiple sclerosis. Coming to you from the Keystone State of Pennsylvania, I'm your co-host Nix, and with me on this ride is Terry, a Londoner who calls Ontario home. We're so happy you're here with us as we continue to try and normalize a life that is anything but. So let's get into it. Focus our energies into today's show. All right, let's get started.
Dude, I tried. I'm there.
Welcome back, Warriors. Glad you're with us as always. Terry, we got a lot to talk about today.
Yeah, we do.
It has been it has since we last spoke. Let's just get right into it. Let's talk about the heaviest thing in the room. Do you want to mention it?
Your procedure?
Well, my procedure, but there's something heavier.
Oh,
Um,
man.
yeah,
I didn't know if you wanted to start off with this, but Brian
I
McPherson.
do. Yeah, let's talk about that for a second.
hmm So, Brian McPherson is no longer with us.
Hmm.
Um,
Good friend of the show. We had him on twice. Hell of a guy. Funny as hell.
I have a clip that I want to show everybody. Everybody probably already saw it, but it just perfectly shows who he was to us and the atmosphere he brought to us. But also, he convinced me to start driving again.
Hmm.
Remember that guy? He tried to give me that tool. He's like, no, you take it and you send it back to me whenever you're finished using it. I'm like, no, I'll just buy my own. And he was really trying to like motivate me. So that's really cool. And dude, I told you earlier that I'm never comfortable with deaths
Yeah,
because, like, yeah, I miss the guy, but who am I to say that? I feel guilty because I've seen the guy two times. Yeah, we had a connection. How many other people have connections with him? And how many
a
people
lot.
out there are like grieving? And when I grieve inside. I don't go public about it. I always
Yeah,
feel selfish when I'm like, when someone comes up to me and says, sorry for your loss, it's like, for me, I feel guilty taking it. Does that make sense? Help me out there, bro.
it does. And, a lot of people feel that way. First of all, let's just start off by saying it's, you don't have to feel guilty. He was the kind of guy where you only had to meet him twice. You know what I mean? He was just such a force. Because we talked a lot off the show, like after we stopped recording, and so we've spent a bit of time, hanging out, virtually, but still. So you know, the feelings of guilt that you have, I think it's because you're comparing. Um, you're not allowing yourself the emotion because you feel like you are not worthy of it because you haven't spent as much time with him as others did, and that's okay, but it's not okay. You know what I mean? That's where it comes from. But you're allowed to feel sad. I was sad when I heard the news. I'm still sad. I wish we had more of an opportunity to have him on the show more and to have him get his voice and message out there, which he did a lot. There's a lot of content with him,
And
but
he mentioned what he was planning on doing.
mhm,
I didn't think he was going to follow through. I thought that was just an old story.
sure, sure. But you guys up there in the north, you have that option. We don't have that here in the States. And you want to briefly catch everybody up what it is?
MAID, medical assistance in dying.
Okay. Yeah, that's a program we don't have down here. And
Dude,
I know
it's
we've,
real, right? Like,
yeah, we've talked about it a couple of times. I know it's a pretty strict criteria that has to be met, from what I understand. So it's definitely not something that anyone enters into lightly, or their, care providers. Everyone takes it as serious as it needs to be. But still, it hurts. It does. It hurts. And, I don't, everyone gets awkward around death because they don't know how to handle it. They don't know, they feel like they have to have the right words to say. And that's not always the case. Sometimes you just need to be there. You don't need to say anything.
4 years ago, I had a friend pass away, and he had a heart failure, so it wasn't like something planned. But me and him really were connecting, and we were becoming really good friends. But that's it. I didn't publicly, mourn this guy, and
Hmm.
people kept coming up to me and saying, "Hey, I'm so sorry for your loss." And they were saying it to me, man. And I was awkward. I was like, no, no, I don't know what to respond with. Like, should I just thank you that I'm taking it? Yeah, but my intentions weren't to show people that I'm struggling, that he was such a good friend of mine. You know what I mean? I'm not comfortable with that.
Sure.
And Shannon went through MAID as well. So now we know two people in 1 year that went through MAID.
Which highlights the underlying struggle that even though both of those individuals had expressed that, it just shows you that, or it just highlights that these invisible illnesses and these diseases that we deal with, it's, we can try our best to describe the pain, and everyone has different levels of it depending on their functionality and disease and all that, and but it's very real. And it doesn't matter what the issue is. Even if it's something we've never talked about on the show, it's very real. And these programs exist for a reason. And I'm glad they do. um it hurts, sure, it hurts.
I don't know what to say. It's real. It's not
Hmm.
just something we're talking about. We
Hmm.
now know, you know. We know other people that are on the list haven't gone
Sure.
through it, and let's hope that it doesn't happen. Because I don't know, man. I don't know how many more of. It's funny because now that we're surrounded in the community of the sick, this is going to happen a lot more in our lives.
Yeah, so all we can do is continue to do what we do and provide a space for people who want to get their message out to get it out. So with that, I want to say that our hearts go out to his friends and family, because in a way they're our friends and family as well, because we had the privilege of meeting him and hanging out with him. Um,
Twice.
yeah. So, uh, and for anybody listening who wants to get their story out, just hit us up on our socials or on our email, and we'll see what we can do. So we love you, Brian. We're grateful for the time that we had, and we'll see you soon, I hope.
I don't even know. I don't
He's
even know. All I
dude,
know is the scene.
he's the villain. He's the villain on Iron Man, bro. But he's not even a villain. He's like the
He's a paid actor to pretend he's the villain. He's in Iron. He's in Iron Man 2. Oh my god, dude! When we're done this, look it
oh
up.
god,
It's literally Terry. It is the greatest. It is so fantastic.
bro.
I
We're
love
gonna
it
fight
so
for real.
much. Dude, I guarantee all the viewers right now are going to be Googling, checking it out, and you're going to get a billion comments
Yo,
about
Nick, we're
it,
cutting
bro.
this out.
Everything happens for a reason. Everything does, right? I mean, and just you brought me a two-wheeled walker to my speech. Otherwise, I wouldn't have had that. Yeah, I just firmly believe everything happens for a reason. There's so much synchronicity as to how even today happened,
Yeah.
right? Because of all
Yeah.
of these pieces that have come together, and that the universe made all of that happen. And I'm
Absolutely.
just glad that you took that challenge, Terry. And I told you, I was like, I know it's short notice, it's 2 weeks. And I saw the look on your face, like, oh my God, yo, I'm scared. I'm really, really scared. Right? And then 3 days later, you text me saying my flight's been booked. Like,
Dude,
what?
I wanted to hurt you because I'm like, don't make Katrina want to push me. Get that shit out of my face. And then I ended up coming. I don't know what the hell.
We've got you flying, we got you driving. I mean, Jesus, but by the
Yeah.
time we're done with you,
I do look like Jesus. That's
They'll take you skydiving next.
oh
Yeah.
man,
Let's do it.
relax,
I'm down.
relax.
I was gonna say, it looked like they had a pretty good time, Terry. I wouldn't push it. Okay, so how do you move on from that with an easy transition? I don't know, but we're gonna try. So what's next on our show notes list, Terry?
Okay, so let's go back to your procedure. I have
Right.
a couple questions because now that
Okay.
I know someone that's gone through it, I can ask you, and you can be open and
Yep. Okay. So had the colonoscopy a couple days ago. Procedure went flawlessly. I'm glad I did it. You know, a lot of people shy away from starting things so young. You know, they say, why is the testing starting at 45? You know, this seems a little early. But my procedure highlighted um, the exact reason why early detection is important. They removed 8 polyps from my colon, which are still waiting on the lab results, but you know, the doc is very confident that they're going to come up as benign. But still, they are what they are. And if they hang around long enough, they have the potential to turn into cancerous cells. So at this point, the doctor doesn't believes that they are not there yet. So yeah, I'm glad I got it done. It was effortless and painless.
can they pop if you don't get them removed?
I believe that is one of the concerns, but
Okay.
the main concern is that it is cell growth in an area where it shouldn't be, and that is by definition precancerous. So I'm not saying that's what they were. It's just if they hang out long enough. So the Cologuard was right that there was something to be checked out, and I got it checked out. The procedure's done. It's over with. Um, I will say, and I mean this, the biggest pain in the ass was the prep, was getting ready for it.
Yeah, like the night before.
The day before, yeah,
Yeah,
24 hours.
I didn't know you had to prep for that.
Yes, you have to drink.
Yeah, I
You have to overdose yourself on Miralax to
this
flush out your system.
it looks like pea water, but it's
Yeah.
funny because I was when I was at the doctor's with my foot problem. There was a
Uh,
lady in the end of the room, and the doctor's like, "You got to drink this by this time," and I'm like, "Whoa, that's a lot of pea water." And it
yeah.
was a big jug. And then when you showed me yours, I was like, "Hey, I saw that. So that lady was going to do it, or she was
Yep.
getting ready to do a colonoscopy."
So yeah, that's the worst part about it. That and I will say you get really hungry. Like I was hangry. I was beyond hangry. But I'm glad I did it. So what questions do you have?
What did you eat right after?
What did I have right after? I don't know. Was it a burger or a pizza? I think I had a pizza. Nope. I have to remember, it was pulled pork sliders.
Okay, okay.
That's what I went for because I was like, what is the savoriest meal I can have? And I'm a sucker for pulled pork sandwiches.
Cool, cool.
So,
After you finished, is there a farting room that everyone talks about?
not really in my case. No.
Okay, so
Mm-mm.
maybe it's different
Yeah, it
types
is.
of
It's different for
colonoscopies,
everybody.
whatever. Okay.
Different experiences for everybody. But in my case, no, I didn't have that bloating.
Okay, but you
But
actually had a procedure done. You didn't.
yes, they put me, I went to, anesthesia, they put me out. Um, and it was, I don't know if this is right, but it was surprisingly quick how fast you go out. He's like, the anesthesiologist is like, all right, Nick, just count backwards from 10. I was like, 10.
Awesome.
I was gone.
He's like, sucker.
Then the
How,
next thing I open my eyes, I'm all drowsy. He's asking me questions, and I hear like, wah, 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 wah. And I'm trying to answer them the best I can. And then you slowly come back to reality. So big signs all over the place in the recovery room that say no cell phone use in this area, you
yeah.
know, taking videos there was one that said taking videos of your loved one is not cool.
Oh, because they're groggy.
Because people post that stuff on the internet.
Yeah. How, yeah, yeah.
So
How did they do that? You're right. How do they allow that? How do dentists allow that? It's like we have to get an authorization from your daughter that she wants you to videotape
well,
her.
it's no, it's the parents do it.
Are they allowed to? Like that's funny.
Yeah. Well, it's just like I don't know why you would I don't know why
Sometimes,
you would shame your kid
dude,
like that, but
sometimes they say stuff that's like yo yo
yeah.
yo because
So that's
yeah.
what I was afraid of. Honestly, that was my biggest fear of the entire procedure is that I would say something coming out of surgery that would be like so out of character. That kid would be like, "What?" So, as far as I
Yeah,
know, it didn't happen. I was pretty awake when she came into the recovery room, so
cool, cool,
I do
cool.
remember talking a lot about Paris study, I think.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
yeah, no, it was painless. I have to go back in 6 months just to and do it again, just to make sure that there's no regrowth and that there's no, nothing else. And then after that, it'll be every 3 to 5 years, depending on
So
whatever they
you
find.
haven't done this before?
No, it was my first one.
Okay, cool.
But it
But
highlights. I'm doing it all on purpose. It highlights it does highlight the importance of early detection. So November is Men's Health Month. We'll reiterate it again. Shame in taking some time to check on your physical health as well as your mental health. So,
damn right.
all right. So that's about that. What else we got?
Uh, I just wanted to say one thing I realized, and I haven't even told anybody. You're the first person I'm telling. My right eye, I don't even notice, first of all. So when I look, I don't even notice. It's when I close my left eye, my right eye is having this fuzzy look now, almost like I need glasses. But again, when other eyes open, I don't even know it's there. The only time I realized is, I guess I was looking at an angle. I don't know. I figured it out.
So, who are you going to go to have that looked at?
No one, man.
Why not?
What are you talking about? What is he going to say? They're going to say, okay, good to know. I might mention it to my neurologist,
There you go.
but
Yeah, you should mention it. That's exactly who you should mention it
when I
to.
have the appointments, I'm not
Yeah,
going to call them and say, hey, just to let you know.
you should.
But hey, it's very weak. I'm not saying this in any way to be like, feel sorry for me.
No,
Mine's not even close to what you go through. I have no pain because I know a lot of people might have pain too. Dude, and it's almost like if I didn't know that I had MS, I would have said, "Oh, I need glasses." You know?
I I literally just said, Terry, early detection is important. I that and you're telling me that you have a
Don't freak me out,
potential.
man. So
I'm
you're
not
saying
freaking you out.
it's
I'm saying that every new thing should be paid attention to, and if it persists, it should be followed up on.
it will
So
be
who
mentioned.
I was gonna
Yes.
say, so do you have a portal for your
No.
neurologist? No? Do they have
It's
those up there?
no, we have something called phone number and we call it and maybe they answer, maybe they don't.
Uh, well, when's your next neurology appointment? Have you made one?
I think so, February, maybe.
Wow.
It's in my calendar, bro. I just put it and forget about it.
Okay. So, yes, I think you should, in your notes in your phone,
Hmm.
track that symptom and pay attention to it. And I'm
Well,
not, I'll call it a ish, whatever you want to call it. Let's not call it a symptom because we don't know what it is, but just keep track of it because it may be nothing, but if nothing builds and then you're like, ah, it's still nothing, and it builds and you're like, oh, it's still nothing, and you don't track it, then you won't know, oh, I've had it for 6 months and every 17 days it gets it gets more noticeable. That's something worth tracking. And with the fact that you don't have an appointment until you don't know when, and it's not very easy to do what I can do, just open an app and send a quick message to my neurologist or my care team. You should absolutely track all these things
okay,
because
so I
otherwise you get to the appointment and the doctor says, how you doing? And you go, on that day, if you're feeling fine, you'll go, oh, I feel fine. And you'll forget that over the past 6 months, you've had this thing because that's what we do. That's what I do. That's why you got to track it. Anyway.
I think optometrists can also detect
Hmm.
optic neuritis.
Yep.
That's when I was at my optometrist like 2 years ago. So maybe I should make an appointment with my optometrist
Yeah.
because,
Um,
and he said, "Oh, you're good. You don't have," and he's like, he was telling me that he can detect it, the optic neuritis, and he goes, "You're
mhm.
fine. It doesn't seem like you have any inflammation." So I'm like, "Cool. So maybe I should check it. Maybe it is my eyes worsening, right?"
Well, that and you just had your infusion, right?
That's another thing. Infusion. Do you get dry mouth after? Because, dude, I'm having
You can.
severe dry mouth the last 2 days,
You can.
and I'm having water next to me. I kind of cut
Mhm.
down on coffee.
Well, you do get the pre-meds, right? Like you do get an injection with steroids.
Yeah,
So you had steroids, and steroids can definitely cause dry mouth. So yes, it's totally possible to get that after.
I had pills, and I
Hmm.
think the pills, one of the pill was a steroid pill.
Okay.
So I don't know what they infused me beforehand. I think it was a liquid form of Benadryl.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's that
I
hospital
mean,
Benadryl.
infused form of Benadryl.
Yeah.
Okay, enough about that.
So yes, get it, track it.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Father.
Well, that's good advice for anybody. It's,
I respect you, bro. I do.
because you
Trust me.
can't remember all this stuff. You just can't.
This is why I write it down so I can say it here so Katrina can hear an episode and go, "What? You didn't tell me about the eye?" And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Yeah,
Or
it's
or she's when she's driving you somewhere, look over and go, "Why didn't you do what Nick said?"
So I have two things to talk to you about. First of all, a movie, and we're going to talk about my foot. This
Okay.
movie I saw, I'm going to, spoiler alert, okay? First of all, so if anybody wants to watch this movie, it's called Night Swim. It's on Netflix. The reason why I want to bring it up is because in this movie, one of the main characters has MS, but it's not about MS. It's not a movie about MS. Kind of. It's kind of like a side character because this guy, they know he has nerve damage, but at the same time, it's a ghost movie. So this guy gets possessed and he's doing certain things like he he's in the pool anyway, he's pulling someone down and they're like blaming it on the MS. You got just got to watch it. I don't want to ruin it for you.
Really?
Yeah,
How do they
yeah,
how
yeah.
do how do they blame it on the MS?
Because they're like they were saying like he has a neurological issue. Like we know,
Uh,
it's just you got to watch it. They blame it on the MS, and it's funny because the ghost makes him stronger. So they're like, oh, he's in remitting, but he's being possessed, and they're using MS to like.
huh.
It's pretty funny. It was really funny, and it was a guy who had MS, which is cool because they used the guy, even though everyone knows 3 in 1 chances it's a female. So it's cool that they used the guy. He was an ex baseball player, probably in the major leagues. I don't remember, but he was using a cane and he was diagnosed with relapse remitting.
Okay.
So it was cool. It was nice to know that there was the MS is big enough to be in a movie. I know it's in shows and stuff, but it was cool.
Yeah. Representation
Mm.
is, and a correct representation matters. Um, and I just watched a show on, it was on Peacock, I think, and it was called All Her Fault. And in that show, there is like a subplot. Well, not really plot, but they mention it. One of the siblings, and I'm try not to give too much away. One of the siblings has suffered a TBI.
Okay.
So he has mobility issues. Specifically, he walks with a crutch and has a power chair. And it is really good at highlighting how people with certain kinds of things conduct themselves. This particular character, for example, his brother is the kind of person who is like convinced that somehow if you keep walking and you keep pushing too hard, it will at one day correct itself,
Yeah.
which I think is a very common way to look at things, even internally. We're like, oh, if I just keep walking. So now we have the thing where we go, okay, if we don't use it, we lose it. But at some point, you get to a point where you can only use it to a certain degree. And no matter how many miles you try to push through that, it's the odds are it's not going to fix itself per se. So this character tries to do a little of that because his family looks at him, specifically his brother looks at him like it's what you should be doing and how you should handle your disease or your disability in this case. Um, but it's really awesome where it comes to a head at some point in the show, and the character with the injury flips out on his brother and says, "You don't understand. To me, this chair is freedom. I can go places in this chair. I can live without pain because I don't have to fake that I can walk." So it's a really good scene. First of all, it's a phenomenal show. It's like a whodunit kidnapping, which is great. And there's 150 twists in the thing. But that I just wanted to highlight because it really does a good job when he comes back at his brother. It's really great. But there is a scene in there where he's like, "Oh, I can walk. I can walk. It's fine. It's fine." And then at the end of the day, he's like crying in pain, holding his legs because he faked it all day.
What's the name of the movie again?
It's a show. It's called
Oh,
It's
it's a show.
All Her Fault.
Okay,
It's a
okay.
it's a phenomenal show.
And Peacock's free, isn't it?
Nah, I don't know.
Oh, I thought it was an
Not
app.
for me, I
Okay,
don't think.
okay, okay.
I mean, it might have a free option, but you'll
I'll
probably
find it.
watch.
I'll find it. YouTube or some shit.
Yeah. I highly recommend the show aside from that, but it's really great that that part was in there because it just highlights that people with mobility issues and injuries and illnesses are still people who want things and can, have dreams and have hopes. And, he makes the statement, he goes, you called the main character's this little boy. He said, you called him buddy and you also call me buddy, but you forget that I'm an adult and you don't call adults buddy like I'm a 4-year-old. And I was like, wow, that's really powerful. But it highlights how people look at people in chairs. And how many times have we talked about that?
I want to see that scene. I want to know how the guy reacted after he said that.
Uh, yeah, I'll get you. I'll get you the episode and the timestamp.
Okay, okay, no
I
stress. But yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to do that yesterday. I just totally forgot. I ran out of time. But anybody out there who looking for a good show to watch, I highly recommend that show. It just also happens to have this in it too. So, which is cool.
Dr. Vaigneur is in the waiting room.
Oh, okay.
He
All
wants
right.
to pass by and say hi to
Our
us.
our good friend Dr. Wagner
Definitely.
from Disabilities Redefined.
Okay, guys, welcome to the zoo.
Welcome back, Dr. Wagner. How have you been, sir?
I'm good. I'm good. I was scurrying about this morning. I am still doing it now. So anyway, I'm gonna leave everything else alone. And if I'm attacked by any little animal or a lion or tiger or bear, then just call Dorothy. I don't know what to tell you, man. Yeah. How is everybody? What's going on?
Doing good. Doing good, my friend. Glad to see you again. It's been a while. I know you and Terry have connected a few times. I'm sorry our schedule hasn't allowed for that.
Yes, I know. I'm upset over that, but I'm going to act like I'm nice today.
Am I not good enough?
You are, but listen, Nick is your co-host, so he should be there. But I know that Terry tells me that you play. I don't know, you're in the gym or something. I know one time we spoke about you in the gym, or you have a card group or drums or something. Yes, okay.
Yep, I'm very busy off.
But I will say you were very missed, and you were
Oh, thank you.
incredibly discussed. Come here. You're gonna sit still. Ooh, I told you, man. This is the zoo.
Oh, there's a dog too.
So what's going on?
Well, today we were just kind of mentioning the passing of one of the friends of our show, and we were talking about it's Men's Health Month, so we were talking about the importance of getting out there and taking care of your health, both mentally and physically. And And then we were talking about representation, which is pretty much your wheelhouse when it comes to representation in both the media and awards and stuff like that. So that's kind of what we were hitting on today.
Well, representation is vastly important. I'm beginning to understand that has varied, meanings. Yeah, it has varied meanings to it. What exactly does it mean to represent? And exactly, are we putting a conscious effort in doing so? Terry and I have spoken about this at length. I am not visibly disabled. I think I've shared this story with dyscalculia, which is numerical, seeing things. If I have it, I'll just in brief. I always did quite good in school, except in math. It wasn't until Hunter College, when I went back to school in my mid-20s, that they realized that I was having trouble with math. I mean, I literally, and we're talking about years ago. I was back then, we didn't have all this placement and all of this. You just took the test and got in, and if you didn't, then if you did not get in, then you didn't get in. But if you got in and you scored low enough on your placement test, you had to take what we would call like an intermediate or something like that. And I scored so low on my math until I had to sit in this math intermediate course.
Just so you know, when I had to do that same thing, but for English, and English is my first language, and I had to write something to see which class I'm going to end up in for English, I ended up in the ESL class.
Really?
Yes, and I'm like, really?
Wow.
No, they're like, yeah, you need to be here. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so bad. I'm really awesome on math. I'm really good in everything else, but English, terrible. Let's move on.
Well, that was me in math. And it wasn't until this one class that finally the professor came and said, have you ever been tested for being dyslexic? And I was like, well, no. And she was like, well, I understand you're a creative writing education major. This might be your math class you take, but we would consider doing it, but it is quite costly. Now, we're talking about years ago. The ADA was just being in place, and it wasn't like it is now with, events and things going on campuses and whatever that I'm a part of with,
Yeah.
with the great team that I work with at the City University of New York now. But so I said, well, I mean, I was young and whatever. I was like, listen, I probably won't have to take any more math. So little did I know, of course, I would go on and get 3 degrees after that one.
Yeah.
One of which was stats, and one of which, I mean, it was tough. It was real tough. So, but getting back to, disability, I do not have a visible disability. I am in no way trying to represent anybody. And oftentimes I think that that's where the conflict or the comes from, because people will assume there's a representation. I think it's quite silly, but I have to step back and say, look, let me put myself in that situation. We don't want to assume, but then again, when it comes to representation, getting back to let's loop back now. There's so many different varied components and factors when it comes to representation, that it is a highly discussed topic, and I do like to discuss it, and I really do, and I actually bring a lot of it into my children's books. But it is what it is. So representation. What is the topic? You all are going on today with representation.
Well, we were talking about characters in films and TV, specifically Night Swim. Terry was watching a movie called, or a program called Night Swim, and I was watching a program called It's All Her Fault. Uh,
Oh,
and the character in my show is one of the siblings of the main character, and he has a TBI. And it talks about how his siblings and society look at him versus how he looks at himself. And it's just like a tiny part of the overall story, but it's such an important part because it's so true. And Terry and I have experienced it. I experience it when I'm walking versus in my wheelchair. People definitely treat me differently when I'm sitting in my chair than when I do when I'm up walking around. So that's kind of where we're at with that.
Well, I mean, when when you are walking around, I've always found this to be very curious myself. I'm in no way know what you guys get 1,000 complaints about me saying this, but I've often spoke to young models here in New York City, and the concept of weight never comes up.
Mm.
Weight meaning WEIGHT. When I speak to middle age or older models, weight is a huge topic.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and
When I, oh, I'm
and they
sorry. Go
will
ahead.
always say, just a people will treat you differently if in fact you are somewhat thinner.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I that within itself is representation. See, this is where representation is so valid because people might want to lose weight because they feel better about themselves. And I mean, are healthier or however, but yet suddenly, boom, an attractive woman comes in. She's a little chubby. Okay, great, she's attractive. But then again, she comes in and she's a little hit. She's lost all this weight. Oh, wow, she's a representation now of what it means to or with a man or whoever.
Yep.
So you walking around or being in a wheelchair, I guess the question I would like to ask, first of all, coming from you, uh, Terry, Nix, is that, and Nix, I always say it like it's the X there because that's the way you write it. But are you trying to do any representation, or you just feel like standing up and walking around for a few? I mean, it could be no more complexity to it than that at
Yeah.
the given time, right? So there,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So there you go.
I think I'm a representative of those that have both abilities. Um, and it was nice to see a character in a show who also had the same, where he was vocalizing that he prefers his power chair because he felt it was freedom. But he could still walk and he can walk. It just caused him pain and he didn't like to do it. So in my case, there are days where I walk pain free. There are days where I walk and it's very painful. And there are a lot of times where I use the wheelchair to get around. So um, I think, I think there's a lot of people out there who have hybrid mobility. They just feel bad about using the wheels because they feel like, oh, every a lot of people, and the image is if you're in a chair, you're in a chair forever.
That is my story. That's why I should have been doing what Nick did. I should have been using a chair when I'm tired, but I didn't because I'm like, I'll just push through it. I don't want that whole image of me being in a chair, me being lazy, even though I wasn't being lazy, but so I continuously used the cane when I could have even used the walker. But my whole image of using a walker, I did not want. So I kudos to Nick for being a hybrid. That was could have been me, man, for many years. But I decided to sit down, and of course my legs got weaker because I shame myself a lot. We all know this.
Well, I guess I want to ask Nick the question, Terry, because you said you just didn't want the image of you with the walker. That needs to be validated. If you didn't want that image, then you didn't want that image. Okay. And that is important. And again, getting back to representation, for whatever reason, and that's your personal business. But if you didn't want that image, then you didn't want the image. And you should not have had that image. Okay. So I'm not in any way trying to lessen what you stated. I guess what I'm trying to do is make more of an impact that you did not want that image representation. Hang on a second. Stop. And that's important to make this overall statement. You had a choice. Come on, listen. So don't go beating yourself up now about that. Now, today, you can look back, share that story, and have impact or impact younger people that maybe if you have a lesser negative image about using a walker, maybe I could have walked a little longer. That's important.
Yeah.
Okay. So you
Yeah.
can use that to help other people. But I think what I'm finding more and more that I'm loving is this, that, okay, you know what? Maybe I could have been more like Nick and, but let me share that story so it can help other people. And you know what, guys? That's incredibly positive. So if you really want to get to a good representation, we've just seen it now with the both of you, right? There you go. See, that's why you guys are known in Universal Studios as the dynamic duo, because you you can bounce off of each other, and I really don't think you need a doctor here to tell you that.
No, he's Dr. Nick. Hello, everybody.
Yeah.
I have a story to tell if you want to stay here and listen to it. It's about my broken foot. And so now it's better. I can stand on it and everything. And I want to go back to my FES. Did I talk to you about that? It's a functional electrical stimulation bike, something like that. Okay.
Oh, I think no. I think maybe in a private conversation at lunchtime or something, um, we touched on this. But I don't know what it is. I mean, I'm not gonna. But I knew you broke your foot or something.
Yeah.
You told me that a few times, or you never told me why or how. But yeah.
There's no cool story, okay? I just fell down. I broke there's a bone in the foot. It's not even an important bone. I can still put pressure, but it's painful. Yes.
There's like
I don't know how one bone cannot be important, but
I don't know. Okay,
yeah,
so
there's like 30 bones in the foot, Terry. They're all important.
it's not about this, okay? It's not about the broken foot right now. So I want to go back to my FES, and the kinesiologist said, okay, I just need your doctor to sign this, that you're able to put weight on your foot. Okay, so I said, okay, no problem. So I call my doctor and I say, the secretary picks up and I say, I need to make an appointment because I need some forms filled out. And they say that he's not in the office for another 3 weeks. I say, why? And, his wife had a baby. I'm like, okay. Is there somebody that can step in for him? Right? These are valid questions. No? I need someone to step in because I really need it signed so I can continue on with my physio to get my legs stronger. And she said, sorry, there's nobody. 3 weeks. I'm like, and I don't know what to do because I can't, here in Canada, I'm sure it's everywhere else. If you give them any attitude, dude, you're done. You know, they cut you off. And maybe it's just me as a guy. I feel that way because in the past, if I'm like, I really need to. So I'm the little boy on the phone. I always use that statement. I'm the little boy on the phone. So what do? I need to get, she's like, sorry, you got to wait 3 weeks. So I booked an appointment on the exact day that he's back. Okay. You got to listen to the story. So he's back on Monday. Okay. The week before, on Tuesday or Wednesday, my kinesiologist emails me, great. They just faxed the forms. You're good to go. Does that make sense to you guys? I have my appointment on Monday, but I got the forms faxed the week before. But I'm like, hey, I thought he was not in. How did he because I could have gone this 3 weeks ago. I'm confusing a lot of people, I'm sure. Anyway, the doctor and the secretary ended up calling me. I'm like, oh, why are they calling me now? I answered and I said, hi, yes, I got the forms. She said, good. So I said, so I guess I don't need to attend the appointment? She's like, well, he's really sick. So maybe if you don't need it, we filled the forms out for you anyway. Do you understand? They could have filled out the forms 3 weeks ago. Why did I have to wait 3 weeks on my lazy ass waiting for that? You know what I mean? I'm just a little upset because I could have gone into, but I don't want to blame them. And I'm so glad my doctor doesn't listen to this because everyone's awesome. But hey, we got a doctor in the house. So what's going on, bro?
Well, I'm not. First of all, let me to all of your great fans and followers out there, and you guys are growing so much. I'm loving it. By the way, you're doing great. Now, I'm really happy for you. But I will say, I am a doctor more so in academia. You both know my story. I'm not even a psychiatrist or a psychologist. I opted out whenever I was doing my.
I don't blame you.
We went into depth of that in our last conversation. Whenever it was. you might as well brought up the Oscars for both of us with the crying towels. But at the end of the day,
Can I tell Nick that someone's like, "Oh, two grown men crying"? What's
oh
the
my God,
deal?
I got slack too. But the people were like, Truett, are you
Wow.
crazy? There's a lot of stuff going on in the world, and you got you two, strong, healthy, viral men are up there crying over animal. Listen, dude, when you feel it, boo. I don't want to tell you. When you feel
Yeah.
it, I said, Terry, myself, I said, a lot of us have given our lives to helping other people, but I don't hide my feelings for anybody. If
Good.
I'm on the subway and something's going wrong, I'll express it, or in the
Good.
restaurant or whatever. I mean, I'm not rude to anybody, but I myself, I don't. Of course, we know what's important and what isn't. Get over it.
Sure.
Whoever's walking around that way, get over. Stop that nonsense.
Yeah.
That's silly.
Oh yeah.
There's so much
Yeah.
of this on social media is just silly. I don't even respond to it anymore.
No, we're the same.
Yeah.
It's
But
just
to answer the question, Terry, we don't know really what's going on. Again, getting back to representation and what we don't know, I always tell people it's important to really consider what you don't know. And that's kind of, I guess you could say, ironic to say that. But we don't know what the doctor he could have given us. He could have needed a stamp. He could have needed a signature. He has a license that the assistants don't have. He could have
right.
just needed to stamp. But why he doesn't have a follow. What I don't understand when my doctor, and I've got plenty of them because I'm older than both of you, quite older than both. But the reality is that at the end of the day, when my doctors go, they'll always give me a call. Dr. T, we're going out of town. If you need anything, blah, blah, blah. Now, I've been here for 30 years and everybody knows me quite well. And most of my doctors have been my doctors for quite some time. So in that respect, that could have a lot to do with it as well. But no, we don't know really what was needed on that fax that doctor had to approve to physically be there.
Yeah.
That would be my explanation on that. What is hard to explicate using that word is why he doesn't have someone filling in for him. 3 weeks, but again, we don't know. We don't
Yeah.
know what happens. Terry, it could have been something as simple as the insurance factor. It just could have been anything. So
I
we
agree.
don't go in there with a pitchfork and a
Oh, I'm not. No,
fire,
no. This is why.
with a pitchfork in one hand and a burning torch in another, killing that poor little secretary.
Yeah. Yo, whoa. But no, this is why I save it for the show and I get it out here, and I'm not going to go there at all. And I was thinking about it. I'm like, if I see the doctor, do I say, this is what happened, just to let
Yeah.
you know? Maybe
You could, and you know what? I mean, it wouldn't be a very
my doctor,
you're
first
quite
of all.
charming. You could just say, listen, going forward, in my case, let me know if you have someone who can fill in for you. If that happens again, it wouldn't. I don't think he would care
Well,
about that.
someone was telling me you never know when he called in to say, "Hey guys, I'm not going to be in." The secretary could have said, "Oh, but there's a guy here who's been waiting to get these papers filled out," and the doctor could have been like, "It's okay, I know him. Just stamp it." It could have been simple.
Well,
I
okay,
know.
it could have been. So this is what I'm saying. I don't know what Nick, but maybe you should just question it. I wouldn't, again, I wouldn't go in there with some tude, but I would definitely go in there with the question of going forward, or, I
Yeah.
think sometimes resolutions happen with a question, or clarity can happen with a question.
Mhm.
And just question, what was going on with the 3 weeks, and what if I need you again?
Because
Something like
even
that.
my kinesiologist, I hate saying my kinesiologist, but even she was like, "Yeah, that was kind of weird." Because she knew that I had an appointment with him on Monday. So she's like, "Oh, we got it already." Yeah, that was kind of weird. And I'm like, and I just looked at her like, and she's like, like, what?
I had that happen with an infusion years ago when I was on Tysabri. Um, the doctor went on vacation and didn't fill out my Tysabri paperwork. And that, not to say that the FES bike isn't as important, but the infusion is not something that any of the doctors in his practice were, any of the other doctors filling in were comfortable signing off on, because you're talking about a maintenance medication and it's a heavyweight infusion. So it took a bit I actually ended up having his colleague who was covering for him track him down on vacation and was like, "Hey, you need to fill this out. This was every month you have to fill this out for Nick and you forgot." So sometimes it just takes persistence and being like, it highlights a few things. It highlights having a relationship with your care team. It highlights self-advocating for the needs that you have. and it highlights the flexibility that we have to build in to the system, really, that exists. And yes, it's frustrating as hell. I've been through it. I've been through, as I've talked about on the show, been through an entire collapse of a hospital network has shut down, and that was a nightmare. So you got to stay on top of your stuff, man. You gotta.
Yeah, I mean, and again, I have to. I think that's great advice, but I have to again push back a little bit. Terry, it's not a problem to ask a question. I mean,
Mm-mm,
asking
not
a
at all.
question on the anybody out there. Listen, my insurance jerks me back because my cholesterol is so high. My doctor will even ask, "What are you still doing here?" I mean, literally, it is that
Wow.
high that it's like I should not. I mean, I shouldn't even say it. No, God forbid. My dad listening. No, nothing's wrong like that.
Okay.
He just makes a joke out of
Dude,
it.
we just had like, okay, yeah. The 2025 needs to end already. Like,
Yeah, but at the end of the day, and every time they call it in, I live in New York, and Nick, I think you've been here. Terry, you're coming in the upcoming year, and Nick, I'll talk to you about that whenever before I leave. But we have a CVS on one corner and a Dwayne Reed on the other, and for some reason, my insurance will only cover up to a certain number of months, then it bounces to another. I'm like, so I'll either go to a CV, and I never know where to go to. So it's just one of those things. And then the one time getting back to the situation, and sometimes we have to understand doctors are not, they don't walk on water. I mean, again, I'm an academic doctor. I don't put me in no medical. I wouldn't be a medical doctor. I don't care if it paid $1 million a year. I would not do it. I mean, no, a week. I don't care. Listen, when you think about the responsibility a doctor has, that any decision they make just by writing out a prescription could really screw someone up. And people are probably watching that have been through that. Understand that that person has to have full confidence, like they have to have a head that a good, and that's a good thing, right?
Yep,
And
that's
that
what you
was
want.
part of the reason why, getting back to mine and Terry's conversation a few weeks ago, that's created all that controversy. I did not want to become a psychologist because it just, and it bothered me. I could not leave when I was doing my, I guess you would say, clinicals. I couldn't leave it alone. So that's when I ventured into research. But just to share, one time I started getting a toothache on Thursday afternoon. And anybody knows that God knows a toothache
Mm,
will not, man, that will tear you up. My
yeah.
mom, God rest her, she passed before my dad. Well, my dad is still alive, but my mom passed before her mother passed. So she passed a little bit early in life. And she would always used to say that she would rather have a baby than a toothache. That's just
Wow.
how painful a toothache, could be. But it started hurting around 3, and my colleague Lisa, who works next door to me in our office at the Center for Students with Disabilities, she's like, Dr. T, man, you better get on that phone fast because tomorrow's Friday, and those weekend toothaches will screw you up
Yes, they will.
because some dentists don't. So here I am calling everybody and trying to get into it. Finally, I can't get in touch with my dentist, and it was a situation they taken the long weekend and whatever. So finally, I just called the secretary. I called my doctor. He's like, "Dude, I can't give you any pain medication. Come on, I mean, stop this. You should know better." So finally, I said, "Put me on a list to the young secretary in my doctor's office that if you can please come and see me tomorrow." So they couldn't see me on Friday, but they could see me on Monday. Now Monday was a big event at Hunter College of the City University of New York. And Nick, you know New York, but
A little bit,
City
yeah.
University of New York is campuses everywhere here. So, for example, York College, the great campus that I work at, York College of the City University of New York, Hunter of the City University of New York, Baruch, and all of them are under the CUNY name. We had a big presentation on this day coming back from the weekend that I was presenting in. And that's my alma mater twice. I got my BA and MA from Hunter, stepped out of the CUNY system to get my doctorate at Long Island University. And then I got my fourth degree, second master's and fourth degree at School of Professional Studies, which is also a CUNY in disability studies. But I'm literally up here, and I had lived on Tylenol 3 or whatever that you can buy
Yep.
over the counter. I almost took some of Max's medication, the cat, because he had had a problem before, and they gave him some meds to help him sleep. Man, I was tempted to take, but I was all weekend. I mean, literally, I had saran wrap around my head.
Why am I the only one that laughed at that? Like, Nick, you didn't find that funny?
But because
He
Nick
took his
just
Is
cake.
that wrong? I'm sorry.
Nick understands
Yeah.
the pain of a toothache.
I
Yeah,
get it.
and
I get it, but
I've done that in reverse where like my dog was having an issue and I gave him some of my gabapentin because that's what
Oh
they were going to give
no.
him anyway. So, you
Anyway,
know,
I made it through the weekend, and the doctor's appointment was around 3:30. I was a trooper. I went to the presentation, and with my bandage right here, my ice pack right here,
wow.
and literally was honest with everybody. And someone had given me some something, or I can't think of the name, maybe ibuprofen or something like that. You're only supposed to take it like once every 8 hours or something
Sounds right.
on it, and it made me a little loopy. So I'm a lightweight. So here I am trying to give a presentation, and with the ice pack here, feeling a little loopy because I took some new meds over the counter that morning. But even so, I was feeling it, and trying to talk and tell everybody that this is my alma mater. I'm so happy to be here and give this great presentation on whatever. Man, let me tell you, when I got to that dentist, that young lady was like, she was a great doctor, she's a Chinese doctor. She was like, I don't know how you made it through, much less to give a presentation. But I think sometimes it's just we just have to put our mind to it, Terry, and get it done. And kudos. That seems like what you did. Listen, didn't you live through the 3 weeks? Okay, all right.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. There you go. So anyway, guys, I wanted to say, Nick's, Terry, and I already spoke about this already. Oh, sorry, Terry.
Yes.
You're the host, buddy. What night swim? Did you want to give what you wanted to talk about your?
Oh no. We talked about it before you were here. I was just
Oh,
telling
okay,
people
all right.
because
My bad.
Yeah.
there's a character in there that has MS. And to anyone who's suffering with MS, or sorry, living with MS, we should say that. We're like, oh, cool. There's some character with MS, and it's growing. It seems like it's growing more and more in the public eyes, which
Yeah.
means that it's being more recognized, right? It's not like, hey, what is that? When they said, oh, he has
Yep.
MS. And I think they used the acronym MS. They didn't say he has multiple sclerosis. He said, oh,
Yeah.
he's being diagnosed with MS, relapse remitting. I'm like, wow,
That was specific. Sure. Yeah. It's good.
Mm.
But I will say, always a pleasure to talk to you and have you on the show. I can't wait until we connect again. Terry and I are gonna talk very, very intently about next February.
Okay, well, we'll speak before then. I mean,
Yes. Yes, we
and
will.
and Nick, it is. I mean, I'm glad to see you, but come on, buddy, jump on a little bit more. I mean, we got Terry, like, you know.
Got Terry on tap.
Yeah.
Again, am I not enough? No, just
Yes, you are enough, Terry.
I'm just
But listen, nothing wrong with having a little cherry on top. All right. Yeah, okay, so there you go.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Always a pleasure to have you around. I can't wait until we talk again, and I can't wait until we figure out February.
Yes, well, we're not figuring it out. You're coming. I don't want to tell you. Okay, and I can't wait for you guys to send me a few skull caps with a 4T below zero so I can wear it. Okay.
There you
cool,
go.
cool.
All right, take care.
Bye.
Friend of the show, Dr. Vaigneur. Always a fun time with that guy.
Yeah.
He's got you know what? He does a great job of raising our energy. He is so nice. Just what a great guy and great things he's doing.
Yeah, I've
Great
known him,
things.
man. I've known him since the beginning of my Instagram journey,
Yeah.
which is cool. So
One last friend of the show I want to give a shout out to and talk about very briefly. We've had her on a couple of times. Season 1, like we had a couple of times, and then maybe once in season 2, Dawn Marie.
okay.
She's been on the show a lot. I want to
Yep.
give her a shout out. She was honored a couple of days ago at an LA Film Festival for her work in the movie Bobcat Moretti,
Yeah.
which if you haven't seen that movie or track it down on whatever app it's on, it's definitely worth it. It's such a good movie. And talking about representation, the whole thing does a great job of representing the MS community. So thank you, Dawn Marie, for doing what you do, friend of the show. Can't wait to have her back on. I know we're trying to get that going again. So hopefully we'll talk to her soon. All right, brother.
Awesome, man.
It was a heck of a show. It was a heck of a show. So, you know, not a lot of our subjects are heavyweight. And this one just happened to be a little bit extra today, but that's okay. We're here, we're still doing it, and we'll be back next week, which I think is our final show of the season, if I'm not correct.
Sure.
I think next week will be the final one because we're coming up to Thanksgiving, and that's typically when we take our holiday break.
Yeah.
So we'll sit around and talk about the year that was. We'll recap some stuff.
You know what? I like how we're winging it, man.
Yeah,
Like I'm not saying that, but yeah, maybe next one is our last show. It should be.
maybe. We'll see. All right, brother. We'll talk soon.
All right, man.
Thanks, everybody.
So check us out at 40belowzero.com. That's 4 letter T below 0.com. Or feel free to reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you. Our email address is info@40belowzero.com. Our personal Instagram account are, for Nix, it's Nix_V713. Or for Terry, it's What's_MS. Awesome. Looking forward to hearing from you guys. We'll talk soon.